He's not running. So Rod Martin and Dave Price, their seats are expiring in 2023. So I want to thank everyone for coming. I'm Mayor Shar Fisher. Thank you all for being here this evening. We do have 7 candidates running for 4 seats that expire. Can everyone hear me okay? We are recording, so the fact that you're here, it gives permission. You will be able to ask questions, but if you don't want to be recorded, just jot it down somewhere and let me know, and I will ask your questions. I also have voter registration forms for those that may not be registered to vote. If you would like to take some, tomorrow's the deadline for that. I want to make sure I have my notes. So the American Legion, they have been nice enough to allow us this public assembly, and they are not supporting, advocating, or voting for any of the candidates as they're not village residents. Let me make sure I have my notes. So voter registrations. So when you ask a question, if you could just say your name, and you don't have to give a full address, but just like, hi, I'm Shar, I live on High Street. That way we can start to get to know each other. Candidates and existing council people and myself can get to know you. And if we don't have the answer to your questions, I'll be able to find out for you and then look at like the water bills or some way of getting your answers. So with that, I'll ask President Pro Tem Dwayne to introduce himself, and we'll go right on down. We do have 7 candidates. 2 of them have not chosen to appear this evening, so you can make your own deductions as to why that is. Thank you.
As Shar said, I am the President Pro Tem, acting as of right now. My name is Dwayne Vannoy.
My name is Nick Root, councilman. I was since August 3rd, 2020.
Suzanne Miller. I am a member of the Parks and Recreation with the council. Live around here on John Street.
I'm Ralph Martin. I was an administrator for 16 years. Due to my COVID, I had to get out for a while. I live on Main Street.
My name is Jeff Hamilton. I live over on Halderman Street over by Midwest. I became a council member in January and lived in the village of Amanda for almost 16 years.
Thank you all so much. So there are 4 seats that expire. Holly Landis is an active council person who has done an amazing job and a single mother going to school and working, so she is not returning. These 4 seats expire. Out of those 4 seats, 3 are returning, Dwayne, Nick, and Jeff. So you will have 7 names and be asked to vote for 4. The term expires, but 3 of them want to come back. Does that make sense, everyone? So we can just start with questions wherever. There's no rhyme or reason. I didn't organize that far ahead. Anyone have questions? Mr. Hopper, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'll start, Shar.
Thank you.
And just so you know, Dwayne does not see these questions.
Okay.
And as I ask them, it's for each one of you to answer. It's not individual questions. I want to know what your version of a strong team or a strong group of people that work together is. Jeff.
Okay, so my version of a strong team or people that work together is a truly diverse team. Okay, so and what I mean by that is people of different mindsets, different thoughts, different perspectives that can actually work together in a productive manner to find a solution. Because no one person has all the answer, no group of people has all the answer. I believe that the best way for a team to come up with the best answer and find a solution is through everybody having a voice, everybody sharing it, everybody has different perspectives, and to make sure you have a diverse group of people sharing those ideas. Does that answer the question?
That answers. Ralph? Yep.
Strong council.
Yeah.
Mr. Hamilton said, the people that will work together, work for the betterment for the people, residents of the village of Amanda.
hard to follow those both up, and that's exactly what I was gonna say. But I think you need to have the people that work together, but also with different opinions. I may not agree with something someone else says, but I'm willing to listen to their opinion, but I expect them to listen to mine also. I think you have to have different opinions to get to the correct outcome.
I'm about the same, just good, being a good listener is a big thing for me. I'm working on it constantly. I'm a type of person that will soak in all the information or need a lot of information in front of me before I can make a decision, but same thing. Everyone's got different opinions on things. On the current council, I think we've done a really good job with really getting through the information and getting all the details of things, and whether I don't agree with Jeff or he doesn't agree with me, we're still able to come together for a decision for the village, which is why we're all here. It's not about pushing my ideas, anyone else's ideas. So I do try to put myself in the constituent shoes too, just to see maybe what everyone's going through. We all live in the village. We all have the same concerns. So just listening, being part of a team, and trying to get results for the village of Amanda.
Strong team starts with a strong leader. You have to have a team behind the leader to be able to understand and develop what she or he wants. You have to be able to want to work with that person. You have to be able to pull through things that she needs to be done or he needs to be done. That. Everybody else has already said everything else as far as respecting one another, working with one another, trusting one another, all along the same lines.
Very good answers.
I want to apologize for sticking that finger up.
All right. I can't talk without my hands, so.
I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, I don't think anyone even noticed.
I forgot already.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any other questions? And then we'll come back, because I know you have a few, but I just want to make sure everyone's
Right.
heard. I saw Holly's hand, and then Elizabeth.
I'm Holly Landis. I currently am serving on council. This is my last year in my seat. So my seat is up for grabs. I live here in the village on High Street. I've lived in the village for 7 years. I have a couple of questions. My first one, and this is something that I always ask any person in a leadership role, so this is not a question I've never asked. It's not exclusive of you. Even though we try our best, we all fall short sometimes. What is something that perpetuates your motivation on days you find most challenging? And that is for each of you. Whoever wants to start now.
I think the thing for me that gets me through, when I'm having an off day, a bad day, is, I have a family. I have a wife and 3 kids that live in the village. Been here 7 years. We moved out here for a reason. We are attracted to the quaint feel. Everyone knows everyone. The family feel out here in the village, and that's my biggest thing. Is why I'm out here. I just want to keep the village going for my family and future families and my friends of my kids and everyone who lives in the village. So that kind of gives me motivation to do what I do and why I'm out here.
Anyone jump in?
Family, that's what it comes down to, family, the village, neighbors. We all have to work together, we all have to live together. So you need to put your personal feelings for that day aside. I may have had a really bad day at work, but that's done. You gotta focus on what is in front of you and go forward from there.
I think mine is future. Looking forward to the future. If you have that bad day, the one thing that can to motivate or propel, perpetuate, is just looking forward to the future. And maybe you're looking forward to a vacation, maybe you're looking forward to a big day of work or whatever. That's my thing. I'm looking forward to the future.
Would you mind repeating it again for me?
Yeah, I can be louder, sorry. It says, even though we try our best, we all fall short sometimes. What is something that perpetuates your motivation on days you find most challenging?
So for me, what perpetuates my motivation on challenging days, because there's a lot of them, would be just trying to do what's right. Trying to help where I can and just wanting to do the right thing. Sometimes it falls short. I just believe in picking back up and trying to do it again.
We all live together. We are one big family in this town. We all have to work together. Black, white, green, or yellow, we have to work together. I'm retired. I don't have too much to get up and motivate me because I get to sit on my front porch and talk. But we all are a family, and we all have to work together. Whomever it is, yes, there's times that somebody will say, I like to have this, and if I feel it is right for the village of Amanda, I'll vote for it. If I don't think it's right for the village of Amanda, I may vote against it.
Holly, do you mind if we hear from Elizabeth and then come back, just for those that have numerous questions, this way everyone's being heard? Go ahead, Elizabeth.
So it's kind of a two-part question, and they go together. So, do you think our village is healthy and successful? If not, what would you do to change that? And in that time frame, as you're thinking of that, if you were to think of what would you do to change it in the next 5 years, what would you say would be the most important thing to say we should change?
Say, can you repeat that again, please?
Do you think our village is healthy and successful? If not, what would you do to change that? When you're thinking of time frame, just think of it as like maybe a 5-year time frame. What would you do in that time to make it more healthy or successful?
I think our village is getting there. I think I've seen a lot of changes in the last couple of years, and we're on the right path. We have more community events going on. We have more involvement from people. Current council I think is doing good. So I think we are healthy. I think we're doing a lot of changes, infrastructure changes. We just did a lot of roads. Same thing with Dwayne that helps with our future. I guess my biggest thing in the next 5 years I'd like to see is and help with is just more involvement from the community. We like to put on the events. We want to get back to the family-friendly stuff. Just keep communication and reaching out to the constituents and getting people involved so we can keep the village going and keep making it a better place.
What types of things do you think the community could do to help with that, to achieve it?
I just think some of the events that we put on, I'm on Parks Committee as well, so I help out with the fall festivities, and it's a lot to put on, and I know a lot of people are excited for that kind of stuff. A lot of people have ideas, great ideas. I see it floating around social media. I see it. People can call me. People can stop on my door. I just encourage everyone in the village to come to our monthly meetings and tell us your concerns or how you can help or how we can help you guys. So that's my biggest thing. Is just reaching out to people more. Better communication, I guess, with constituents.
The barometer, I think, for a healthy village is you have a council right now that's working together. Everybody understands what the common goal is. So, that being said, when we get through to the constituents that we're trying to do what's good to get on board with us, I think the health of our community is going to better. Now, for future. Is that what your second part of your question was? Ask it again. What was the second part?
Second part is, when you think of the health and successfulness of the village, if you were thinking about a time span of 5 years, what do you want to see happen within that time frame of 5 years if you thought that if it needed to be more healthy and more successful?
I think in the next 5 years, if we mandated that everybody eat more barbecue,
Sure.
probably be huge.
Same as me.
It's just community support. You know, sometimes we don't know that everybody's behind us on the community when we sit in council. I can't stress enough what community support does.
So, I don't think the village is healthy right now. So, to that point, what would I like to see change in the next 5 years is really what's been said already. And really that's community involvement. So, we as a village, you know, the council can make decisions, but the council made up of 6 people in a village of roughly 700. That's really lopsided. You know, the village should be the village of the people, okay? And I firmly believe that we need to hear the voices, we need the involvement, rather than 6 people making all the decisions for 700. And I think that's how you make a strong village, with more involvement, more voices. Because at the end of the day, the council just works for those 700 people. We're not really supposed to have a whole lot of opinions, right? We're supposed to be looking at the facts, Ohio Revised Code, and doing what the people want. I don't believe that we should be pushing our own agenda. We should be pushing everybody else's agenda.
I loved your answer. Thank you for your honesty.
You're welcome.
And can I say real quick, I'm sure you two are gonna have an answer, but this is the diversity that he was talking about. You know, he didn't just say, I agree with these 2 councilmen. And that's what he was, I mean, he sticks to what he means, and he's not afraid to voice it. Jeff Hamilton brings something completely different usually. Then Nick brings something completely different. And then Dwayne brings barbecue and something completely different too.
Where is the barbecue?
You know, he forgot tonight. And then, I don't want to interrupt, I'm so sorry, Ralph and Suzanne, please answer, and thank you for your grace in letting me say that bit.
Not a problem. I'm a little bit of a disadvantage. I'm not on the council at the moment, so I don't know the exact health of the village. So I'm not going to comment on that part. I don't know. I have been to a couple of the council meetings trying to learn what's going on, trying to see where things are.
But you're a resident, so in a
Yes.
resident's point of view, you kind of need to answer it that way.
As a resident's point of view, I think it's headed in the right direction. It may not be fully healthy where I'd like to see it. But again, where we need to go is, I would totally agree with the 3 gentlemen that have already spoken. It's community. We need to get more community involvement, more people to come to the meetings. The last meeting, I was the only one there, other than the council. There was no one there. We need to get the community involved more.
I'm gonna go say, I think we need to go forward. We're not there yet, and it's gonna take a lot of work. Everybody's gonna have to work together, residents, council, and myself as a resident. I think we are healthy to a point, but there you go, that fingers.
That's all right.
To a point, we are healthy, but there's a lot we need to do and get done to make us a better village of Amanda for the residents of the village of Amanda.
Such as, what, so to answer part 2, what
What would you do if you were to say, okay, these are the things I might want to approve on for that 5-year thing to see happening? What would that be if you were to give yourself a goal to accomplish in that 5-year period to make it healthy and more successful?
Okay. Since we've got most of the streets paved, we need to do the alleys, get them down where you don't go down this, your false teeth fall out when you hit a bump. I know what that is. And we got to get our streets are done, get the alleys, then we go on, get the sidewalks done. If you walk down any sidewalk, and the one in front of my house, where I live, is bad, neighbors is bad, by the way. My neighbor on the west side just passed away.
Sorry about that.
We should all feel like this for our neighbors.
Yes.
Yes, we should.
And that is something that I would be looking for in village council, is how do they feel about our neighbors? And right there's an example.
I'm sorry.
And then,
It's okay.
Fine.
We'll give you a minute. Did you wanna add to it? Are you done? Okay. I don't wanna cut you off, but I thought I'd give you a minute.
Thank you.
And I would like to just add, even though I'm not running for council, I would like to see the Amanda Neighborhood Watch program really take off. And we did start, and then the world shut down. And then we plan on, there are a couple captains and I that are going to plan on rebooting that. Because in the lack of a police presence, I feel like as we know our neighbors so good that the passing makes us this upset, or that, you know, if someone's having knee surgery next door or across the alley or diagonal or wherever, we start to know each other more and we help each other out more, then we know who's supposed to be in our neighborhood and who's not. And we are a tighter knit community, and so that's some of the parts of the Amanda Neighborhood Watch program that I would like to implement. And I know you didn't ask for my goal, and I'm not running for council, but I wanted to throw that out there. And I'll have an event. I hope all of you come to that for Amanda Neighborhood Watch program.
If I can add on to mine.
Yes, please.
To her question.
Yes, please.
Police force. I know it's very, 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 very expensive. It'll cost me. Probably when I was, back when I was on BPA, and that's been many years ago. You know, but we got people going down this street. If they're going 25, I'm going 80.
It's every
I think
street.
we need to get work out something that we can get this slowed down. There's a gentleman that lives outside the village. He goes down that street, whoom, 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 all flying.
Very true. It's a concern we hear often from every street.
You know what truck I'm talking about.
Did you want to add, Nick? Did you have something to add to that, or? Okay.
I just think, just coming, like I said, me as a councilman, I'm not gonna speak for everyone, I like to hear village issues, appropriately. I wish people would come to meetings and address those, because like it's was said before, I don't wanna push my own ideas of what needs to be done for the village. I wanna hear from you guys. So, if we don't know that there's issues, then we can't fix them. We like to listen, we like to try to get things done for the village, but that's just my thing, is with the involvement too.
So what's your opinion on mitigating those traffic issues?
It's just gonna be hard. I mean, every village everywhere has traffic issues, and I see them too. I'm on Main Street. I have 3 kids. It scares me to death all the time with cars flying down there. I know we have some special duty hours for a police force right now. Currently, that is already approved by council, so maybe we need to talk to them and reallocate hours for the sheriff. If there's times that the village thinks that's best, I'd love to hear them. How many hours are we approved right now, Shar? Is it?
In February of 2020, I asked council for a police presence, and they approved 6 hours a month.
And now we're up to.
And now, February of 2021, with this council, they've approved 12 hours a month.
Yeah, so right now we're at 12 hours. We have a police force of 12 hours. To hire a police force, and I'm not saying it's a bad idea, is over $100,000 a year for one officer. We have to pay their insurance, that covers one shift, their insurance, their retirement, the maintenance on the car. I mean, it is an expense, and I'm not saying we don't need it or we shouldn't have it. I'm not going to pin that right now. What I'm telling you right now, current council, we approved 12 hours. We have 12 hours a month of a special duty officer in the village of Amanda that we pay for outside of them doing the regular patrol. So if there's specific traffic times, traffic patterns, things that we want them to be doing, they're very receptive of what we want them to do. If we want them to watch for riffraff at the school, they'll do it. If they want us to do speed control on Main Street, they'll do it. They're very open to our feedback. But that's, once again, until we know the issues or problem areas, we can't tell that special duty officer, hey, this is a problem area, because right now everywhere's a problem area. So if there's more common problem areas, to say, hey, you know, for 2 hours, can you sit here and do traffic control? Or for 1 hour here, can you go by the school? Or, you know, when Midwest lets out in the afternoon, can you come down between 3 and 5 when school's letting out and Midwest is letting out and sit here? Like, we have that option. We have a police force now. We have 12 hours a month. We just need to know where to use them the most, which again comes from the village. If you guys have an issue, I'm on current council, we already approved 12 hours, let me know. I'll talk to the officer, we'll try to set it up.
Thank you.
And the reports are the public reports, right?
Yes.
So, if you guys are ever curious about what they've been doing, just let us know.
I have reports available.
So, that's something we currently voted in on this council, so we have 12 hours, so I'd love to hear problem areas and times. Times are a big thing, because if we miss the time that's happening.
And to be clear, the special duty officer works on 3-hour chunks, so we can't say, well, we want 1 hour every Monday. It has to be, they are hired on 3-hour chunks.
Oh, jeez.
So they're out here 4 times a month for 3 hours, extra, on
In
top
addition
of
to their regular
That
routine.
makes-
whoever's already patrolling for Fairfield County. So it does make it hard,
Yeah.
you know?
That's
but-
not our rule.
But, you know, it's something, it's a start.
Yeah.
And like I said, if we had feedback of where the major problem areas are and times, give them to the village and we can talk to the officer and try to get that done.
Does someone else have a question?
Hi.
Susan and Mr. Hopper. Go
I
ahead.
just got one thing with the speed. There is other ways we can do something about the speed, like speed bumps. We got used to it at work, try to slow people down.
I did look into that.
Yeah.
And I have been told on city streets we're not permitted. So in a school parking lot, in a shopping mall, you see speed bumps. My understanding is that it goes against our, the street codes or whatever, because it could cause further damage to other vehicles and to snow plow removal and other things like that. I looked into it, and then actually someone suggested, why don't we do rivets? Instead of, if you can't do speed bumps, why don't we do rivets? I hear you. My daughter walks to school, and I see people speeding, I hear it all the time, and I would love to come up with a solution as well. But I just wanted to let you know, I have looked into the speed bumps. Ralph, do you remember I asked back when I first came in, I've asked Ben since he's taken over, like, why can't we get speed bumps? Just thinking maybe someone else would help me, you know, and he's like, no, it's same thing you said, you know.
It is
Put
bad, though.
speed bumps on main thoroughfares, and a car is damaged, which is illegal to put them on. The car is damaged, the village is liable.
I'm on Main Street. I sit right here by the traffic light every day, and now it's flashing red, which has helped a little bit. But I've seen people run right through that constantly. But before they did that, it was a traditional traffic light, green, yellow, red, and I'd see people from Dollar General see it went red to green, and they just fly to try to get that light.
Same with when I had the thing that shows you are now doing whatever. People would purposely speed up to see their speed going faster. It's like, it's a challenge we're willing to continue to work on and listen to ideas.
Spike strips.
Okay, so back on track. Thank you, Amy. Has everyone been heard once? Okay, Susan?
I had a question about curfew. Where I live, I guess I must live on the bad side of the track, I don't know, but, I notice a lot of kids that shouldn't be out, late and doing things they shouldn't be doing, and I just want to know what's going to be done about curfew.
The village has
Go ahead.
the village has a curfew.
But to enforce it, it's not being
You have to
enforced.
have either the parent, you either have to have the parents tell the kids, and make sure they do bring them in at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock on the weekends. You can have the deputy that comes in 3 hours a week, or a week. You can, maybe have them look around about 10 or 11 o'clock if they see somebody up. I know, and Carrie will probably get mad at me, her daughter was out one night, her and her girlfriend, at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they took them to jail.
So a resident can call the sheriff, right?
Yes.
And
Yes, you
it's
can.
not really a council enforcement thing, it's a sheriff enforcement thing.
You are
But
correct.
again, it would go with the Amanda Neighborhood Watch program, so we're able to work together as we see, if you all see Lena out, you know to text me and I will come and get her.
But not all parents are like that.
But, yeah, it is a parent thing, so I just wanted to be clear, like, I hope to get the Amanda Neighborhood Watch program. It's not a council thing, it's a
I mean, we do have an ordinance though, so if there's someone out there, call the non-emergency sheriff line and say, hey, this is
Yeah.
going on, I'm sure they'd be happy to come out, and like I said,
Yeah.
if it's a further bigger issue, like you said, we have 12 hours a month, it's after 10 o'clock, you want to patrol 10, 11, 12, to see who's out and about, talk to these kids. That's a good idea too.
All right, Amy?
No, does anybody else have a question before I start on my second round?
Yeah, the community watch, what all does that entail? What are they doing?
So, the community watch, I'm not, are you asking me or them, I'm sorry?
You.
Okay. I'm not seeing a lot of involvement of the community watch. That's why I want to get the Amanda Neighborhood Watch program going. And basically, it consists of captains, a phone tree, and each captain is on a block, so to speak. So if you see some riffraff, but Holly's not home and it's around Holly's house, the captain has Holly's number and they text her, hey, do you know what's going on? If there's a gas leak on Church Street, not everyone's connected to Facebook. But you get the captains that are texting, hey, there's a gas leak. I don't know if your son or your mother's at home right now, but there's an evacuation, the Methodist church is open. Hey, there's a hostage situation across the street. So it's a network of people looking out, captains and co-captains and everyone on the block getting to know each other. And then down the road, we have a block party. And we have things going together where we're knowing who's supposed to be where.
So again.
Does that answer your question?
No, well, not exactly. I got a
Okay.
guy I bought my house off of, Benny Nedrick's brother,
Uh-huh.
blind, who was over there. I would just like to try to figure out something somebody could actually stop and check on once in a while.
Okay,
He lives over there by himself, he's blind.
okay.
I know Benny goes over there, but
Yeah.
probably not enough.
Yeah, I think that's where we need to strengthen the Amanda Neighborhood Watch program, where we're looking out for each other. Next mayor said something at the school for that, but, we do. I don't know what the community watch entails, but I'm willing to find out, and I will write that down and get some answers better to you. Better answers to you. And see if we can get a resource, Meals on Wheels, or something to him. Does that sound like a better answer?
Yeah.
I mean, we can do something through current council right now, at a meeting sometime, and see if we can.
Well, everybody here lives in a different part of town, they
Yeah.
might not know somebody.
I'm with you.
That's,
Okay.
and me and my wife both work, we work a lot of hours, so it's hard for us to get over and check all the time, especially if we need
Are you
something to fill the day.
So,
We'll add that to the notes.
I'll make a comment as a council member. So one of the issues that we've had is like this thing that you're saying about checking on minutes. If people want those things to be done, like through the neighborhood watch, where we have meetings, we put those out, to attend the meetings, talk about those things. Those are things that we have certain resources we're trying to develop, but we need input from the community. We need people attending community watch meetings. We need people willing to serve on committees. Right now, these council members and myself, we serve on anywhere from 2 to 3 committees. So in addition to our council meetings, we're having to serve committee meetings, special meetings in between. We had to have a meeting, last week a service meeting to deal with a truck issue outside of our council meeting. And then we have this tonight, and then a council meeting tomorrow. So it's great great that we're willing to do those things, but ideally, each council member would serve on council and maybe one committee, because the community would be serving on those committees. We're not supposed to be the only people serving on these committees. The community is supposed to be involved. And because they're not, we're forced to do it ourselves, which is great that we're willing to do that and give that time, but it creates burnout and exhaustion, especially when the only feedback that we get is negative.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Okay. Go ahead, Liz.
I'm just gonna ask. Yeah. Okay, so Nick mentioned the cost for the police, right? It's like over $100,000.
Last time we looked at it, it was in the 90s.
Right.
I
So we have a budget, the village has a budget, correct? Okay.
Okay.
So if elected, what three steps would you take to put our city on a firmer financial footing? And
Whose
where
job
would
is
you
that?
apply it?
Firmer financial footing.
And where would you apply it?
Ooh, I knew she'd come with good questions.
Yeah.
Don't just go circuit one.
Yeah, for me, I know where we need to apply stuff right now. So my biggest thing on my mind lately, has been brought up in council meetings before by Vinny, is water. We're going to run into some issues right now where our wells aren't doing very good, our equipment's out of date, and we have to secure another area for a leach field to keep our water in the village of Amanda. It's going to be in my opinion, a very big cost, but a much needed. And I think that we should start looking at that stuff sooner than later, because if that fails, we have a water tower that will get us through, how many days, 2? I think you said? I think that water tower that has water now will get us through 2 days of water, 3 days?
It's 150 average usage.
At restricted usage.
It's about 47,000 gallons a day.
Yeah.
So that will give you 3 days there. You have 100,000 gallons in storage at the water plant.
So
You can have 5 days.
And to add to that, we have been looking for land.
Yes.
And people are not willing to sell to us.
it's a huge thing with EPA. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. What we currently have now, I don't know if we can get another leach field in there. I know, for me, budgets, it's one of those things, I'm not on budget committee, but I do look at budgets in the village. We have council on budget committees, and before we ever make any purchases, I'm always like, hey, how much do we have? How much does this cost? And then I make a decision based on that, whether, yes, we should vote for this or no. I mean, we had a thing last month with mowers, and, it's like, we need to fix this one and buy this one. It's like, we can't do everything right now. I'm the same with my house. I don't write a check if I don't have money for it. It's one of those things where sometimes we have to slow down and yes, we need, but we need to prioritize what we need, how quickly we need it, and when we need it. We did vote to fix the mower instead of buy a brand new one because the old one's 2 years old and perfectly fine. It's just one of those things where I'm not on a budget committee, but I'm very budget conscious of what's going in, going out. But as far as a long-term plan on where we need to spend money, I think we should start looking at that. If those wells fail, we have 5 days, and we have no more water. How old are those? How old is that well, that system? 50?
Only one well is from the beginning. That's well 4. That's 1953, I think. Don't hold me to that exact date. But well 3 was done in 77, I think.
They're 40, 50 years old.
Well 5 was done when we redid the water plant in 07.
So that's my whole thing too as a current council member, and as hopefully get voted in the service. I'm always looking for future stuff. We can deal with day-to-day stuff now, but that future stuff will creep up on you quickly, and it takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of resources. It takes a lot of, like I said, with the water, it's EPA. It's someone to drill it. It's land. It's to make sure everything's running right. And I don't like throwing in the money to things that aren't going to be profitable. It's a waste of money. I pay taxes in the village too. I don't like just to throw it out just to put a Band-Aid on something. So for me, money, that's where That's been on my mind a lot lately in the last couple of months. I mean, it's to the point where they can't be re-sleeved. I mean, they can be redone.
I can add on to him.
Please.
EPA, you can buy 50 acres. And the EPA come down and say, we don't want, you can't have the wells on that property.
Yeah.
So everything has to go through the EPA, and they're picky as all get out. In 16 years that I was administrator, only one time that we had the inspector come down and say, I can't find a thing wrong. And he wrote it up that way. No errors, no nothing. I don't know how he got by with it, because they have to find something, even if it's dust on top of a motor. And now, that was 3 years ago, and they'll be down here within the next few months, probably in 2022, that they'll be down here going through it again.
So what you're saying is, there's a possibility when they come down in a few months, Nick's opinion of the situation is he's going to declare it, that we're gonna need this new,
They can mandate, they can come in and mandate you get more water, and you have to do it. And if you, they'll say, I give you 1 year. 1 year and 1 day, they can start finding you for not having that well in procedure of
Planning phases.
planning.
Getting something done.
Yeah, and they asked about, some land, and the people said that they weren't interested. They don't farm it, they let it grow in weeds. It does set down a little bit low, it does flood a little bit, but in that case, they built the wells up. If you go down 33, and just before you get in, there, where 93, I think it is, one that goes directly into Main Street of Logan, you look on to your right, and you got to see wells 6 feet in the air. The pump's 6 feet in the air, and they're pumping water. That's how, and then if you put a well down there, 1 or 2 wells, they will mandate how high you have to have it.
So to get back to the fiscal, I'm sorry.
I hope I answered your budget question okay.
and your, yes, and
Yeah.
the opinion of.
That's kind of my opinion of where we need to go as far as answering budget questions. Like I said, I'm not on a budget committee in the village. We have other council there. But I do look at budgets, and when someone comes and says, hey, we need this, that's my first question.
What's Dwayne, what do you think, Dwayne?
Well, what I wanted to add to what they said was, we can't just buy a half-acre plot and say, hey, we're gonna drill a well here and supply the water from the village. But we have to, I understand it's bare minimum 10 acres that we have to have. So we have to put it, in today's market, 10 acres is a pretty good chunk of change. So that it has to be a multi-use facility, just like Red Wolf Park is down here. We have to have another facility with that 10 acres in it and then use it another way. And so that's one way that's what we're looking into.
On that acreage, may I ask?
Sure.
You can take them by eminent domain, but if it comes up to me and I was sitting on council and they said, we'll take it by eminent domain, how many votes for it? This one will vote against it.
We are all trying to avoid that.
I don't care who you
That's
are,
the worst case
you
scenario.
wouldn't want me to
You don't
come
wanna
down
do
and take your property.
Yeah, technically, if the EPA said we had to do something and we couldn't buy anything, that would be the next step, is taking someone's land. And same thing as, I'm gonna speak for myself, I know everyone on current council would probably be in the same position. We don't wanna get in that position.
No.
We don't wanna, we're trying to build relationships, we're not trying to do that kind of stuff. You know, we're trying to build things up, we're trying to build communication, we're trying to build rapport with the constituents. I mean, and that's the last thing I'd ever wanna do.
And we have,
Have we looked into maybe someone who's been here for a really long time, who maybe wants to donate some
I think
land
that
to the
was the
village?
plot down there.
so to answer your question, if I might, I and our current service supervisor and I have written letters to 2 landowners with no response at this point. We are still actively seeking other routes because we and council do not want to do eminent domain. And because there is a matter of urgency with the wells and the age, it's something we are actively following through on.
Sorry, the wells, or the land has to be adjacent to the village lines, correct?
I'm not sure about
I mean,
that.
it can't go, I mean, for example, my dad's property out on 22 is too far for a well.
I'm not sure about all of that.
It just costs a lot of money, probably.
Yeah, the
It costs
piping
money
and the
to
routing, the digging and all
bring it
that,
here.
that would be a
Where the
finance.
current is, that's not village property.
No, but it's close enough.
Yeah, it's closer. Anything's possible, it just costs a lot of money. doesn't it?
Yeah, so to go to your
Oh, the one
budgetary
you was wanting to buy,
questions,
yeah.
I think it's
We-
obvious we all are concerned about the wells. Did it answer your question okay?
Correct,
And
so
do you
they're
want
all in
any-
agreement, each person on the, right now, that's what they feel is the most important.
It appears so.
Is that your
Jeff
opinion, Jeff?
and Suzanne, and
That's what I
you
was-
guys didn't get
Jeff,
to weigh
what's
in.
your opinion?
So, I guess for me, I don't know that the wells are my top priority. So, to be quite honest with you, I'm not saying it's not important, and I'm not saying it's not a priority, but I think we really need to, in my opinion, the first thing we need to do is really do a fiscal audit, see where the money's going. Okay, we've also got, and determine, is that where we want it to go? Dollars are going out, are they going out in the most important way? One issue, I'll be honest, one issue I have an issue with the 1% tax. Okay? That, I believe, is to go to, and you may remember, Ralph, is that supposed to go to roads? The 1% income tax? Is that for road improvements?
It's general fund.
No, I think
Goes
it's
to
split in
general
three.
General fund, streets and maintenance, and paving.
So I think, based on our current priorities, we need to analyze one, I don't like tax in general, but is that going to the best place? Do we need to continue with paving, or do we need to direct that money to water? Or where is our current dollars going, what's coming in, and prioritize based on that?
Have you had a concern in the recent past few years? The same concern has been there. Where has this money been? Where has that money gone? All the tax dollars?
Yes, so one of my main concerns is money. So I got on council in January, and one of the reasons why is, where's the money going? And I'm not saying it's going anywhere inappropriately, I just don't know. And obviously I am a vocal advocate of community involvement, transparency. I think we should, this information should be very easily and readily available, and to a degree it is. Part of it was me not seeking it out. It's there. But there's always room for improvement, right? So, and, a lot of paving's been done. What's more important going forward, alleys or water? And we need to talk about things. And the taxes can only be used on what they were set up for. So do we want to change that? Do we need to change things in some way? And I think that starts with really analyzing what we have coming in, what we have going out, and really focusing on where it is. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not the best guy for it. So is that a committee? Is that, what does that look like? I don't know. And I think that needs investigated, and I think that's where we need to start.
So Jeff Hamilton, you're on service committee and, what else?
Oh, not budget.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Do you want to be on the budget committee? That's what I was getting
I
to.
am not on the budget committee. In my day job, I deal with budgets to a degree. In my previous job, I dealt with budgets a lot. And that's always where we started, right? So I in my day job, I work for a public institution. So we have a lot of the similar rules, regulations, that sort of thing. And look, we've got to have it itemized. We've got to know where every cent is going. And is it going where we want it to go? Is it going in the most appropriate place? My opinion, at this point with the paving where it's at, I would rather see money go into the wells than the paving. But I think we need to communicate that to the residents of the village here are our problems, here's what we're doing, here's where the money goes. You know, and I think it's a priority, and it needs to be a village understanding. One of the things I've questioned my whole time I've been here, and, you know, I talk to my neighbors, and why is the water so hot, right? Well, now that I'm on council, I finally asked some questions, and it's because there's loans and requirements, and there's a lot of reasons for it. But, you know, there's room for improvement.
If I may.
Go ahead.
The new water tower and the new water plant is over $300,000, and is what it costs. Now, I'm going to go to something else. The resident of this village can walk in that office across the street and say, I'd like to see your appropriation and your budget, and they have to give it to you.
Yeah.
Anytime you can walk in there and ask for it. Ask for it, and they have to give it to you. I get a little static. Yeah, they have to give it to you.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing on current council and going forward, is just transparency to the village. If you guys ever have any questions, reach out to one of us, go to the office. You know, it's just one of those things where, until I was on in 2020, I had the same questions. I was here 5 years before I got on council. Same questions. Why don't we know anything? You know, the biggest thing is transparency. Same thing with money. Once again, we're up here telling you how we think the money should be spent, but we want to hear from you guys. It's your money. If you think it should be water, if you think it should be roads.
It's your money and our money. But
it's everybody's.
It's their.
I don't like making decisions.
There's only 6 people who've telling you.
Yeah, I don't like to make decisions with your guys' money.
6 out of 750.
We're up to 866 people.
Oh, 866.
We're growing.
Yeah, we're growing, and
that's
just to add to the transparency, it was one of my goals to become more transparent. We do have villageofamanda.com, where you can read the minutes and see community posts. You can now pay your bills online, because we also have a YouTube channel we're recording on. You can watch the meetings, as long as and boring as they may be. But you can read the minutes. You can access that information at any time on our website and on YouTube. It's important to have that transparency. And our meetings are always the first Monday of the month. We're holding them now at the fire station for social distance, since our office is so small. And then we have a email. It's villageofamanda.com. villageofamanda@hotmail.com. Anyone can request that information by going in person, by emailing. I'm hard to hide. You can find me in this village anytime and ask me questions and read the minutes. It's really important to see how we're working, but again, what they're saying, we want to work for you. So we need to know things. And then I think with the paving, a lot of that was grants.
Grant money now.
That was before the world shut down, approved grants for Halderman and such, but I'm going to ask Amy to go ahead and ask some more questions. Did you get your answers okay? Okay?
I would honestly like to add one more thing.
Please do.
And it's, my thing is surprising upkeep. We had a box culvert go down on Main Street. Amanda had to shut down half the road. Guys spent, 6 to 8 days there working after the 4th of July, or before the 4th of July, right around there. And I'm only 53 years old. I'm about 153, so I don't know exactly where everything is. And if that's something that bothers me. That's what is what's going to happen next that we have to put a fire out on.
That's good, Dwayne Vannoy.
So I want to add real quick before she asks her questions about the budget. So our budget is actually turned in to the auditor of state for next year, this year. So we actually have to have it in by the end of this year for all of next year. So we have to allow certain room in the budget for unforeseen events. And we have to always leave money in the general fund, and we always have to leave money in case something happens. But we are required to turn our budget in for next year and this year. So anything outside of our budget get a loan or we have to get special permission, like if, we can't just spend money. So we have to appropriate that money prior to the year that we're in. And then they have to come back and approve it. So that is something that our village office does, our fiscal officer, Carrie Ayers, is something that she submits that village along with the budget committee. They make those decisions, and then they submit those to the state, and then the state approves our budget for the following year. And you have access to those records anytime.
Thank you. Very good point.
I'm gonna change the tone of the thing. I wanna know what you think a village resident would say about you.
Suzanne, you're laughing the most. Let's hear it.
What do you think?
Suzanne Miller.
Okay, or change it to, what do you want the village
I like that better.
residents, what are they gonna see out of you when you're in public, when you're, I'm trying to get some character.
I'm not answering that one.
I'm just trying to get some character information.
Character, okay. I'm a person, I like to be involved, I like to know what's going on. That's why I'm running for council, because I don't know. But I'm always out there, I'm always trying to talk to people, find out what they want, find out, and just be friendly. There's a lot of people around that are not friendly people. I'll just leave that there. But we're all neighbors here, whether you live on that side of town or this side of town. We are a small community, and we all need to be friends with each other, watch each other's back. And I'm that kind of person. If you need something, I'm there. And that's how I want to be seen. Hey, I get upset just like everybody else does, and you'll hear that too.
Yeah.
But that's me, that's my personality. I'm out there.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Ralph, you had your hand up before me there earlier. Go ahead, Ralph.
When I was on administrator, you asked the question what they would think about me. I was the meanest SOB in the county, because I had the dirty job of telling Benny to go shut your water off, or your water, or your water. And the names that was called.
Oh, yeah. What do
Nobody
you want
should
them
have
to
to
see
take
you
that.
as now?
Huh?
What do you want them to see you as now? How would you like to erase that?
A retired gentleman sitting on the front, on the front porch.
Got time on hand.
But no, the reason why I'm running, because I want to better continue with the growth and betterment of the village. I will not do anything less than that.
For me, yeah, I want to be approachable and transparent. I don't want anyone to, I hate seeing things on Facebook and social media about different things going on and not hearing about it face to face. I'm a super approachable, understanding guy. Same thing, like neighbor, I can't wrap my head around, and if this is you, it's not talking bad about you. How many people don't know their immediate neighbors?
Right.
I wouldn't know what to do without my neighbors. I have some of the best neighbors. Good, bad, or indifferent, sometimes, but, just get to know your neighbors. I mean, I moved to this village, we moved from Columbus area. I didn't know anybody out there. I like the fact that we were close-knit, there were 700 and some people at the time, and I can get to know my neighbors. So, same thing, if you see me out, I coach football, I coach baseball, I'm on the captain of the neighborhood watch currently, and council, I'm everywhere in the village. So hopefully when people see me out, they think of me as a respectful, approachable guy. I like to work for people. I'm a people pleaser. So sometimes that's a downfall, because I don't get a lot of rest. I'm involved in a lot. But if you guys have an issue, just let us know. I am a people pleaser, so I'll work hard for you. Hopefully people that know me now see that. But that's my biggest thing. It's just a kind, approachable person who'll work hard to get things done for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nick. Jeff, you go ahead and go next.
Would you repeat your question for me again, please?
I really didn't have one because it got all
okay.
scrambled up. What do your neighbors or a village resident, what would they say about you? Or if that's not convenient, what do you want them to think of you?
So, I am I'm not as outgoing and social as Nick. So my immediate neighbors, they think, yeah. So I'm the guy that's going to wave, and we're not going to have a lot of interaction. I'm just not that guy. I believe in keeping to myself. I like to mind my own business. I like my alone time. If you need help, I'm gonna be right there to help you. I don't need a thank you. I don't need anything else. It's have a nice day, and go away, kind of thing. If I had a neighbor across the street, she was pregnant. She had a heavy package delivered. Went over, helped carry it. I was gone. I couldn't tell your name. We waved. That's the extent of it. I just like to keep to myself. I like to be me.
I can vouch for that story.
And that's all
Yeah,
right.
I know.
I like that you're honest.
Yeah,
So,
very honest.
he-
And different, that's great.
He knows my neighbors directly across the street. Whatever. I know the gentleman's name. I don't know the lady's name, but yeah. I mean, just because I'm not that guy. My neighbors on either immediate side, we wave, hi, how you doing? Look, I've got 4 kids. I've got a job that I have weird hours, and I'm just not that social. Obviously, if I see you, you say hi. We're going to talk. We're going to chat. No problem. I can talk all day long. But at home in my environment, I would rather keep to myself and be me. To be quite honest with you, I don't care what my neighbors do on their property. None of my business. As long as they're not hurting anybody, I don't care. And I don't think anybody should care what I do on mine. That's me. Whether or not I'm approached, look, I'm a big guy. I don't always have the friendliest look on my face. It's not intentional. It just happens. I've got 4 kids. It gets old. So, I may not look approachable, but as far as how I take my responsibilities on village council, I take them serious. I do believe in following the law and doing what's best for the village and what people want. And again, that's not my agenda. I don't have what is it? What's everybody else? What's for the best in the village?
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Dwayne, we all know what people say about you, so you don't have to answer.
You don't have to answer.
Oh,
Well,
everyone
most
else
people-
wants to hear.
Most people, when they see me or they see me around, they're wondering why I'm yelling at their kids, probably. But I'm a guy of less words when I'm confronted with confrontation. If I'm confronted with something that's confrontational, I'm usually very quick and to the point, and usually don't like my words. But if there's something that I like to talk about, something that we have in common, I'm very difficult to shut up. I hope people see me as somebody that's approachable and transparent, just like Nick says.
I can
But
vouch, you're
just-
just a big old teddy bear.
But just do not approach me with the attitude of, disgust, because that bothers me.
Should I ask your neighbor what she thinks you are?
Go ahead, Jeannie. Fire away.
He's a pretty darn good guy.
I'm blushing.
Jeannie, did you have any questions, or did anyone else?
No, my husband told me to come up and listen and keep my mouth shut.
Hey, I will say, I appreciate when you speak, though.
I do too.
We don't hear it very often, but when you talk, I do listen, because you usually have something good to say.
See, and
Well, I get around.
And wisdom that we can all use most of the
sir.
time.
Yes, sir.
Corwin Hill, we live on East Roots, this is my wife Beverly, she's been residents there for over 50 years.
Okay.
Pretty high seniors, in fact, there's only one person in here that's a higher senior. We have an issue, I'll ask you a question, if and when any or all of you got elected, and you had a resident that has to keep a storm flood in his basement drain because of backup from a drain tile that was there before there was even any houses on that part. I don't know if that town is in the city or not. The house brings into it. All the houses do. Guy built a house, claimed there was about 80 houses on that end of town, and that drain used for all of it, which goes down, ends up going on the third floor. Should I have to keep a flood in my basement? I just asked if they could put me in a small, whatever you call it, drain, take me off the tile, which is what they did for me, whether they knew it or not. And the response I got was, I'll have to check and see if that tile is in town or not, or on your property. And they were standing beyond our property line, and they said, and Benny witched it. He found the tile. And they were standing there and said they didn't know if it was in town or not. I'll get back to you.
And then they never got back to you?
It's been a couple of years.
Can you tell me your name again with the, I'm so thankful you unplugged that, thank you.
You're welcome.
I didn't hear your name, I'm sorry.
Dorman Hill,
Mr. Hill.
Beverly. You were just
And-
out there in business when we were passing out 330 loops, if you want to put the address
Okay,
in.
thank you.
So you'll know where to come and look.
So can someone explain to me better what he's asking about, so I can understand it?
From what I'm understanding.
Basically.
it-
I think it's pretty bad when you have to take the water from your dehumidifier, which you got in the basement, pour it in a bucket, carry it upstairs, and then dump it into the city water system, the drain system.
Yeah.
Or take it outside and dump it.
I got the same thing.
I mean, I'm uncomfortable walking up them steps, let alone carrying a bucket on me. And this would be a daily thing if I run it all the time.
So what I'm hearing, and I think where he lives at, there's a break where the village is supposed to take care of one section, and the township is supposed to take care of another section.
Okay, I'm with you now.
Okay, where the break is, and we have been in conversation with the township about getting this taken care of. And I honestly, I don't know where it lies right now, and I hate to say that. I hate to say it as a council person, but that's I know that's been discussed.
But
Well, I
it's
don't
being
think-
investigated, the matter's being investigated for
This-
where or who's responsible for the
Yeah.
fix.
I
Yes,
think
so
we're talking about two separate issues though. I'm sorry. Sir, you said you live on Lutz?
Yes.
Is that
That's
where the
right by
alley-
the K-12 building, is that correct?
Yes.
Is that
So I live
yeah.
just around the corner.
Is that where we did just?
Yes,
Yeah.
with Mr. Stone, what we call
The Stone
Stoneburner
Burner
Alley.
Alley.
Same
Yeah, we were
alley,
just talking
correct,
about
Mr. Hill?
It's not an alley, it's a road.
Wow.
It's right there by, as the, well,
So the road in front of the alley, and to answer your question, and as he had said, we are communicating with township, and I have letters to the township. When we were talking about paving the alleys, we thought about paving that alley and going in costs with township, correct? Then we decided against because we wanted to find out what they were gonna do with the catch basins
Yeah, I
and
think,
drainage.
didn't we have an engineer look at that?
We did.
I mean, it's to the point in the last, a couple months that I heard of at least, that we've gotten an engineer involved to see, and I think Jeff brought up at a meeting one time, we didn't wanna try to fix an issue and just start digging just to fix it, not knowing what we needed. What size drainage tile we need, or what size catch basin we needed. And it's the same thing on council, we try to get all the information before we make the decision, because I hate for them to tear up a yard, put something in that wasn't even appropriate for fixing the issue.
And
If this is the
Jeff and I-
same issue, I think
Didn't we go to a township meeting, Jeff?
Yeah.
We did,
And
we
we
did.
need,
I thought that
sounds like we
address
need to
was on-
follow up.
Was on,
I think it was on the
Street,
township as of right now.
Yeah, there's one the one that we've been talking about all day, or for the last year, is on School Street.
So this is
But
right.
Dorwin here, he lives back loose, like towards the
Right.
baseball and baseball field.
But he dumps into that.
It's the same.
Everyone jumps into that. See, that tile goes clear down to what
Yes.
was supposed to ditch
If I can-
beyond the football field.
Yeah.
Is there any way to just do a drain instead of?
Well, so, sir, does it back up during heavy rains or all the time? You know, I
That's
guess,
not all the time, but,
We're just trying to get a big picture.
yeah, so,
I mean, I could take that drain plug out tonight, it might rain hard this week. Guess what? We'll be cleaning the basement.
yeah.
Yeah, as far as putting a drain in like your it's hard to speak for me, and I know, I'm not gonna speak for Jeff and Dwayne, but a lot of this stuff has happened from previous council. We're all fairly new on council.
I'm just asking you, if you get elected, what your opinion would be to do about it.
See, for me, to be honest with you, if I was in your shoes, I'd be frustrated.
I'd be frustrated.
So
because-
for me as a councilman, I'd love to listen to your issue.
What they did for my neighbors,
Yeah.
asked to be taken off of that drain tile.
Yeah.
They put in a small French drain, and that's what I
That
asked for.
would rub me the wrong way.
And
I'm
I
just
asked for the
being
same
honest with you.
thing, and
But
And who did that for
Who did you
neighbors?
ask?
Who did you ask and who
I'm not
did?
gonna give any names out.
okay.
But it's beyond, the next house beyond me.
I meant, who did the repairs for your neighbors? And was that village or
Your
township?
equipment was used, and the
Okay.
guy worked for the village at the town.
Okay.
Because a lot of times
And this has been 3 years ago?
Because a lot of times what happens, the village will pay for my understanding, once again, we're all fairly fresh on council. So a lot of this was done before we were on. But I am interested in hearing issues so we can get it solved, because that would frustrate me. A lot of times, and to my understanding, what will happen on those kind of transactions is if we supply the labor, the village supplies
Yeah, we pay for the
material,
labor
and
and they.
that's how most of it
material.
was. I'm not saying for your situation, or what happened 3 years ago, because I've only been on council for a year.
So to be quick and clear, to answer his question, if elected, Jeff, what would you do?
So so I don't think the quick answer, the answer may be take you off. Sounds like you got a storm drain coming up in your basement. Is that probably what it is? What we're talking
Basement drain.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, maybe the solution is to tie that basement drain into a sump pump or something, or French drain or something like that. I don't know what the solution is. My opinion would be, let's get the engineer we have on contract, let's let him look at it, let's let him tell us the best thing to do to solve the problem, not just say there's nothing we can do. Let's fix it and let's do it. I
Well,
mean,
the French drains work for the neighbor. Ever since
yeah,
I put it in.
and if that works fine, let's.
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah,
All
then
right.
we get the engineer to draw it up, we have it done, and we call it a day, and we move on.
Yeah,
You know, if there's something that easy of a fix, I mean, if we can cap the storm drain and give you a French drain and it works just fine, then why wouldn't we do that? To be honest, it sounds, I know it sounds relatively easy. And capping the storm drain, so one of the issues that came up with adding the basin that we talked about for a different issue outside. So that was talking about adding load to the drain. Okay, this is actually removing load from the drain. So it's a no-brainer. You don't need you don't need to upsize the pipe when you're talking about removing load. So you're talking about capping it off and running it's kind of like a leach bed. It's kind of running into the gravel and it'll drain on its own. Then, I mean, assuming that's all right, because again, I haven't looked at it, I don't know you, I'm not familiar with the situation. If all that's accurate, then yeah, that's a no-brainer. Let's just do it, and why wouldn't we?
Well,
How
I'm
do you-
saying they did it for the neighbor, and
Yeah, no,
How do you
I
feel
don't know how
about,
else to put it. It probably was done without
Well,
proper people. to
it
know.
should be
Yeah.
done with proper people to,
I
you know.
will contact Ben tomorrow morning and bring this to his attention. And do you mind bringing this to attention at our council meeting tomorrow evening?
I'll be happy.
Will that be a good solution for you to
Yes.
start?
As long as something goes beyond the contract.
It's a start to talk about how we can repair. Do you want to hear the other candidates' answer on how they would handle that solution?
I just piggyback off Jeff. If there's something that needs to be done, it needs to be done. But like I said earlier, we don't know what's the best answer. So we need to get our engineer or someone in there, because I'd hate to do it and it still not be right, or tear something else up. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts in that whole. I mean, I've heard about that alley and that road and drainage stuff for the year I've been on council, but this is the first I'm hearing of this one, as this specific.
That might have been a question to answer at council, but I thought.
Yeah, but I'm glad you brought it up,
If
because
you're gonna be elected, you can think about it before you get in.
Yeah, we'll bring it up tomorrow.
I'm
like I said.
so glad I stopped and asked you guys to come out,
Yeah, 'cause
and I'm so glad that you brought this to our
But-
attention.
Yeah.
And I will, that's all it takes is to ask me about things, and I write it down and I will find out an answer.
I guess it's another one of those things you guys are talking about, the
Yes,
community
sir.
coming
Yeah,
forward
that's-
and saying,
Yes, sir.
right, there's an issue.
Yes.
That's what I was talking about
That's
earlier.
right.
If we don't know about the specific issue, that it's hard for us to deal with it, and I don't want you as residents to sit at home and have ill will towards anyone on council because it's not getting handled, because I don't know how to handle it, because I don't know the issue.
Nick, I wanna add on to that. You all are so busy.
Yeah.
If you ask one council member something in the passing, they may forget it. Please go back and ask more, or ask another council member, because this is not your only job.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you're busy people.
I mean,
So-
Doran, and another thing, down the same road, you know, down Lutz, we've had a problem with drop off and pick up kids for the school. Well, we reacted, and I don't know if we reacted correctly. I know I think it's better now.
If council ain't do it, I wanna thank them because the kids are off the street.
Good.
Yeah, your council voted on that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't see them.
Well, Mr.
Yeah, and what
Jeff
the council wanted to
Hamilton-
do with that was they wanted to make sure that the school used the school property. We didn't want the school to no longer use village property.
Well, we suggested that to the school and others up through there too, to get them off the street. Do like exactly what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Well-
If you ever have a concern, come to a meeting. If you can't, email the village
Yeah.
email address, let someone know, because, I mean, that was a council decision that was made last month?
2
before,
months
2
ago,
months ago?
but President Pro Tem Dwayne Vannoy and I also communicated with JB a couple times in school. Jeff Hamilton and Dwayne, communicated together a cease and desist, which all of council, I believe,
Yeah.
said approved on. I don't know if there was an abstain. I feel like all of them.
I think-
Oh, the one was absent.
Absent,
One was
abstain.
absent that evening. So yeah, we are glad that people are bringing their concerns to us. And again, that email, like Nick was saying, definitely reach out to us.
That's the stuff we want to hear. That's stuff I want to hear.
All right,
Because I don't
let's-
know there's an issue, and we can't handle it if we don't know, but I'm glad you guys came tonight to let us know, and
Yeah.
it'll be discussed about tomorrow at our council meeting, and we'll get the appropriate people to look at it, because I'm not an expert on drains. And then
Me
once we
either.
get the data, we can kind of make a decision from there, but thanks for coming tonight to bring that up.
And I know I sound rude because I'm like trying to cut people off and keep going, but I see hands.
Yeah.
All I just wanna say is like, since we are having the concern with the community involvement, could we develop some type of card, comment cards, and then have a drop-off location like at the village, where people who are working, things of that nature, who aren't able to make these council, meetings on these Mondays or something at 6, where they can actually drop them off.
That sounds better than Facebook. Thank you, Elizabeth.
A lot of people are, actually, like mentioned earlier, some people don't have access to Facebook, maybe they don't have Facebook as soon as they do, they
Oh,
don't use
yes.
email, maybe it's just too complicated for them.
I'll
But
write
com-
that suggestion
That's
down.
great.
Comment cards, we do that a lot in property, management.
I like it.
And it works.
I like it.
That's
Holly?
good.
Can I,
So-
Oh, yeah,
can
go
I add
ahead,
to that?
Dwayne.
That was, yeah.
Our property maintenance division is handled by each person on our council. Each one of us take 2 months a year. And it's complaint driven. So if we have a complaint, we're obligated to go check out the complaint. Now, if it's over and above that, if it's a different situation than property maintenance, such as,
Ordinance violations.
yeah, ordinance violations or
Well,
something
you're talking
like that.
about like earlier you had mentioned ideas, you know,
Yeah.
some people
Yeah.
really do wanna, they have an opinion and they have ideas, and sometimes people are fearful of what other people are gonna think in the community of them for bringing up their opinions.
Gotcha. I follow you.
Especially
I follow
through, you know,
So
so
you-
maybe if we had this comment card,
See, I have no problem with people thinking,
Yeah.
knowing what I think.
exactly.
So you want like an anonymous?
Anonymous
I love that
comment
idea.
card.
I think we had that at
of
one point,
nature.
didn't we? They got kinda nasty.
Legally speaking, we're not allowed to accept anonymous complaints, and here's why.
For
Because you
property
have-
maintenance or for
No,
everything?
for-
Period,
period.
because you have to be a village resident to voice your opinion.
Oh, it wasn't for complaints, it was for like this idea of the
Suggestions.
community
Right,
coming
but
together
it's
and,
still,
yeah.
we
Can't be
still
anonymous.
can't be anonymous. By law, we are required,
That's right.
they have to be.
Oh, yeah, they can have their name filled out on it.
Or
Yeah.
or address. Right, but they're not
Right.
sitting in front of a council
Right, but we
personally.
may still
It's
read
not
like,
recorded and it's
hey,
not.
you know, this is submitted by so-and-so. We legally have to,
Correct.
the village has to have access. So anything you submit, even on a comment card, if it has your name and your address, it becomes public record the minute you drop it in that box. So your name, your address has to be on it, and it's public record. So that means anyone in this village at any time can come and see. And I know that's scary, but the reason is because we can't have Sally Joe from South Bloomfield coming to Amanda saying, we wanna have a police force, or we wanna have a different colored Christmas tree, or we wanna have no Christmas tree, or we don't like your shrubs in your front yard and we wanna file a complaint.
So, let me ask you this. I'm not a village member, I have nothing to do with this, and I really don't care. But if I have a complaint of something that may be taking place across the street, since I'm not a resident of Amanda, I'm not allowed to say nothing,
You can say something, and
because I am this building.
right, but especially if it is something that could be handled by police, then you would wanna call the sheriff.
Well, yes, that's
But
by
if
all
it's,
means.
but if it's something, you know, I mean, we always can listen, but we can't necessarily, like, I can't fill out a property maintenance report, like, because you have a business, your business could file a complaint in the village.
So
Yes.
who, since I'm a business, who files that complaint?
If you own the business, it would be you
I
as
am
the
the
business
business.
owner. Right.
Okay.
So then the business owner, yes. A resident, a business can file a complaint.
Okay.
But someone just random that doesn't live here, have a business here, has no connection to the community. So that is why legally we're not allowed to accept anonymous complaints. And we get those. They mailed them to us personally. Long letters, all the time. And it's crazy stuff. I had someone mail me a complaint about my dog that supposedly was running around in my front yard and was a huge black dog. Okay, my dog is a 17-pound Chihuahua mix who is brown, and my house sits on the street, and I didn't have a whole lot on the phone.
So, point taken, and, we definitely, I like the idea of a comment card. If people are able to write their name and address, maybe we'll implement that. I'll bring it up, because I do get a lot of messages from people. And it would be neat to have that at the office and drive Carrie's fun nuts instead of me.
Why can't you drop them in your drop box in
Yes,
the door?
You already have a slot.
Yeah, I love it, I'll bring it up.
I think we should read them at council meetings. I mean,
Okay, so that's something we can definitely work on, and I've written down that suggestion.
Size, council
Do you have
meeting,
another
read them
question?
all.
I do not, but I do have a
Yes,
question,
I'm
but
sorry.
it's only for you.
Oh, good.
I don't
Let's wait a
understand.
second, though.
That's
Go ahead.
I
me.
the other question that I wanted to ask you guys, and it's for all of you again, is, so let's say a member of the community, was interested in a leadership role. So, as a leader yourself, what suggestions would you have for another person in the community looking to enter into some kind of leadership within our community?
Be prepared.
Yeah, be prepared.
Well,
Don't have
number one,
Facebook.
attend council meetings, find out what's going on in town. That's where you go, that's where they talk about it, that's where you can ask questions.
Good,
That's your first step, is go to the council,
Yeah.
go learn.
We wouldn't push nobody away. I mean, if somebody wanted some kind of leadership role, we would find something for them that would
Yeah.
fit them, and we could agree on something.
Yeah.
That's the same thing for me. I just think there's a place for everyone. I mean, I think everyone has room to be a leader or be on a committee, or, like he said earlier, you might be good at one thing and not good at the other. And that's why I kind of like that diverse council that we have now, and hopefully going forward. Everyone brings different things to the table, so that's kind of where I'm at right now, as far as the leadership roles.
That's true, just
Ditto.
depends on what they're wanting the leadership in. If it's in the village, go to council, get on council. The seats come up every 4 years, get on council.
I would just repeat everything they've all, we would love, we on council would love to have more people involved. I think it's absolutely great that Ralph and Suzanne, sorry, I'm terrible.
You're fine.
Are here tonight and participating, and we've got 4 seats available, and there's 5 people here in front of you, total of 7 on the ballot. That's great. That's absolutely fantastic. There's lots of room for everybody, and we need all the help we can get. We really do. Whether it's on council, on committees, or just being involved and sharing ideas. The comment you shared about property management, so you obviously have a property management background. That's great. I don't. That's helpful. You know, so the more involvement, the better. So I would just say, get active.
Can I also answer your question about leadership?
Yeah.
So, as a person that recently has taken this office, this position, I'm going to fill this position until 2023, December 31st. And I've learned a lot about leadership. And I'm an outspoken, outgoing person, but I've also learned to listen to others is important. Different perspectives is important. Being prepared, doing trainings, learning as I go. I had no idea about grant seeking or parliamentary procedures, but I've learned as I've been in this leadership position. Being prepared to respond in an emergency. There's all sorts of different trainings in this position, but then as people have submitted letters of interest to be on council, as people had resigned, I reached out to them like Suzanne and I said, hey, even though you weren't elected in on council during the time where council will elect in, now they're on the ballot, but if Dwayne resigns tomorrow, we would elect in somebody until his term is expired, then it's on the ballot. I hope that makes sense. But I would reach out to her and I said, hey, even though they didn't elect you in March, would you be a part of our Parks Committee? So I think embracing others is something that's really important as a leader.
So I would say that's more of a transformational type of. Before, I saw in the community as more like an authoritative figure in the mayor's seat. Anybody else feel that? Mm-hmm. And I don't mean to speak out of turn, but it just feels like there's a huge difference between the pre-existing mayor's position and the way you want to lead your team or your community.
Thank you.
And it's a big difference.
Thank you.
Transformational leadership is a big thing to have in a community.
Thank you.
That transparency.
I keep the authoritative part for at home with my lovely teenage daughter. Thank you.
Ralph has a.
Ralph.
Go ahead.
You want people to give in to, if they got a complaint, say it. That's why God give us this and this, to listen and to speak. So if you got a complaint, I'm not on council, trying to get on council. If I don't get on council, that's nothing, won't upset. But if she's on council and somebody comes to her and says, hey, she listens, and she goes and talks. We all got two tools, and we all don't use them.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are using thumbs these days.
Right.
Yeah.
But, and if whoever out of the 7, there only be 4 votes. And out of those other 3, I will hope that they truly want to serve the village and be on a committee. Be a part of the budget or the service or the parks committees. Be a part of the Amanda Neighborhood Watch program. And that goes for everyone, not just candidates for council. Are there any other questions?
Try the whole village, so I don't buy any.
Anyone else have a question, comment, concern?
I have a comment.
Please.
We're newbies.
Okay.
We ended up here kind of divine providence, you would say, as much as choosing.
Can you tell me your name, please?
Bill Graff.
Oh, that's right. Okay, newbies, gotcha. I'm with you.
But we've been encouraged as to what we've seen as we've lived here. When we looked at the house, I sat on the front porch and I said, I'm home. We're done.
Glad you feel that way.
Yes,
and I'd
and
like
it's
to
beautiful,
say
the
you're-
work they've done, it's beautiful.
You're not sitting still as a person, as a town. You're either moving forward or moving backwards. And coming from a town that went backwards real bad, like real bad, don't go backwards. whatever you do, don't go backwards, and I'll be hanged if I'm gonna sit around and watch it happen again.
We don't want to move again.
We don't wanna move again, right, so.
Thank you.
Keep coming to those meetings and putting out those ideas.
Yeah, so,
Welcome to the village, I'm glad you like it here.
Yeah.
May I ask where you moved to?
School Street.
School Street,
The corner of school.
school and High,
Across from Mr. Bennett.
yeah.
On the big White
Yeah,
House.
the big White House.
On the corner, I like the new fence.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that house.
Yeah. I think your point is really well taken, and I'm gonna be bold, and I'm supposed to be Switzerland and neutral, but, the previous mayor is running, Mark Moore. A previous council person is running, Tracy Thaxton. And he was actually held derelict in his duties in February of this year and quit, and now is running again. So I went there, I probably shouldn't have, but those two didn't show up tonight. So your choices are here in my book, and what you said is very relevant, and you didn't know that, and that I was gonna say that or anything about that, and I probably shouldn't have. I'm supposed to stay neutral.
But you can
How many
always talk
seats
to
are
all
there?
of us other village
4
members.
seats.
Up for
That are on the ballot, and 3 of them are returning, Holly is not. Did you have more to say, did I interrupt?
No, it's just that,
Yes.
I wanna
this
make-
just has a good feel.
Okay.
I've liked seeing the community events, you know, everybody seems involved, our neighbors are great.
Good.
It's just, it's a breath of fresh air. I love the Christmas decorations, you know, on the lights, on this coming in on the street,
Yeah.
you know, it
Yeah.
just,
Santa's coming to town this year.
it's kinda, you feel like you went back a few years.
Yes.
You kinda come off the highway and it's like, oh, where's Aunt B, you know?
Yes.
It's a little bit of that feel. and
Yes.
You
that-
guys have kids in school?
We have, our oldest daughter is at Ohio Christian, and then our younger daughter
Good
is
choice.
at Eastland Fairfield.
And she does Bible study with Carly. And
Oh, is
we-
that right?
I got my MBA from Ohio Christian.
All right.
Yeah, Emery.
Well,
So
welcome to
I'm
the
so glad I
village.
put a face with it now, thank you
Glad you guys are
for
liking
coming.
it.
And I wanna make a comment, because coming into this council and leading, it's probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, is walk away and not apply for reelection.
go to bed, I'll talk
And a lot of people don't understand why. There's very few people, and I really don't, and I think everyone
can't say a
here
whole lot
that
on
knows
here.
who I am, or has been around me, knows that I'm
Okay,
very
all right,
neutral in
right.
my opinions about other people. And I very rarely open up about how I feel publicly about others. But you made the comment about returning to the past. And I'm just gonna make a statement. So when I joined council, one of the first things that I wanted to do is bring the township trustees and the Amanda Council together. So I attended a trustee meeting, and the first thing that I figured out was that we had not been attending the health department meetings. We had never attended one in like 15 years. And so I asked for permission to attend one, because their meetings were the same night as our meeting every month. And I was told no. And then at the end of the council meeting, I was told that I need to slow my roll, and I need to sit back and take advice from all the other members that were already sitting on their seats, because they knew what they were doing and I didn't.
Can you be clear on what year that was and who, not me?
It was the former, mayor that made that comment. And it set a tone during his leadership where I was a woman and I was too big for my britches and I needed to sit down and be quiet. And that wasn't the only time that those kind of comments were made to me. I was talked over, I have been screamed at, I have had, been ignored in things that I have said and just went around me. I've watched things take place that should have never happened. Last year during COVID, the governor said seesaw deadlines, and he was talking about construction and work in communities, because we needed to, A, not have those people out and about because of what was going on, and B, we needed to reserve our resources because COVID was eating up a lot of resources nationwide. And so there was some collusion with a couple of members that are no longer on council and former administration that was in leadership roles. I'm not gonna name names, but you can probably figure this out. And they tried to use that to prevent us from filling a seat on council so that someone who never applied for a seat could try to get in late, which is illegal. And I had to call my own personal attorney because our own attorney was used in this matter, our village attorney, and we had to pay for that. And our village attorney was used in this matter, and we had to pay that money for his time. And I had to call my own personal attorney because I'm like, I don't think that this law is being interpreted correctly. I even wrote a letter to the governor of Ohio about this matter and spoke to other mayors. And in the end, I was right. It was wrong. It was completely out of context. It was completely being misused. And it was to try to get someone who is currently running for council, who is not here tonight, and on council last year, illegally. And I am exhausted. And part of my exhaustion is this kind of thing that I have been up against up until recently with the current council and mayor. In the past, the old council and under the old leadership, it was a constant uphill battle of never-ending exhaustion. And with no direction. I was never told, hey, you know, you need to do this, or hey, you need to do that, or, you know, here's a deadline for when you have to have this done. It was just, hey, welcome to the team, sign this paper, show up at this meeting. There was no understanding of anything. So, you know, one of the things I tried to do was something that didn't get completed until recently, was to revamp the recycling center. I met with, you know, the guy who runs the recycling program for Fairfield County. He drove in his Camaro to our recycling center, and I met with him. And I think you came one time, and it was to try to get a camera up, to try to get things changed, to try to get things done. And it was just like, I was getting told, shut down, and told, well, we don't even need to have a recycling program, we just need to do away with it, because trash is going in my parents' yard. I mean, the stuff that I have seen and the difference now is night and day. And I have been quiet, and I have been silent, and I have sat back, and I have dealt with this, and I have put up with it, and I'm not going to be silent anymore. As the end of this year is running out, I have no problem taking a platform on this and speaking, because this village deserves to know that certain people that are running from these offices, or running for these offices now, are the same people that were doing this the whole time. And that's just part of it. We're going to talk about the annexation and how land was tried to be stolen from somebody and covered up.
Thank you for that. I appreciate you on the platform and you're making it clear.
So I just want that.
So that's a challenge, basically,
I mean, the council
to go forward.
The council that we have now is great, and I love working with them. But I spent the first 2 years in my position not working with these people, working with a whole different group of people. And when you deal with that, and you're trying to raise children, and you're trying to better your life, and then you have these requirements from the state to take these classes, and I'm in school full-time for psychology, and I not volunteer, but I work at a shelter part-time, and I work another job. It's like, okay, I want to come, I want to help, I want to be the best that I can be, but I can't do that when I'm exhausted.
She is going to have, it's going to be hard to find someone to fill those little shoes.
You can't do that without support either.
They are little shoes.
And at the time I didn't have it, and it was really frustrating. And the bigotry and the good old boys, and I hate to say that because I know everyone says it, but it's the truth. And it's exhausting.
It is. That's why I have CoverGirl all over my dark circles. But I do want to thank Councilman Dwayne Vannoy, Councilman Nick Root, Parks Committee member Suzanne Miller, Village Administrator Extraordinaire, retired Ralph Martin, and Councilman Jeff Hamilton for your time. And all 5 of you, good luck. I'm so thankful that you all decided to listen to our constituents' concerns and gave everyone an opportunity to express themselves. As far as the other two, I don't know if they think they already have it in the bag or what. I don't worry about that. Are there any other concerns, questions, comments?
One comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to your neighbors, encourage them to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 78.
how well it works.
I'm 78 years old and I'm kind of beyond
I got you
being
beat.
involved too awful much, but
I'm 86.
a lot of you still have a lot of time and well, maybe not a lot of time. You got a lot of energy that some of us don't have. But this village has been home to me forever.
78 years.
Well, almost. And I want to see it move forward. I want it to be a friendly place. I honestly don't know. I know who used to live in probably every one of his houses, but I don't know who lives in almost every house in Amanda anymore. I'm glad to see new people come in. But there's got to be a reason for them to want to come here too. And it's not going to be just because we have
reason
good
to stay.
football.
Stay here, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be a friendly place.
Absolutely.
And we need to take more time to get to know our neighbors, really.
Absolutely.
My husband would be contented to stay in his sunroom and ignore everybody, but I'm not that way most of the
Yeah.
time.
I think that was really well said.
Yes.
Talk to me.
Fresh people.
Huh?
Ralph has some.
Oh,
Before you close, if, the biggest word in the dictionary, only got 2 letters, but it's a big word. If I should get elected, I sit on my front porch when I'm not doing things, but normally I'm on my front porch enjoying my retirement. I have a mouth and I have ears. If you have a complaint, I'll listen and I'll pass it on.
Do you have a second chair there that we can just sit with?
I have another rocker in the house
Okay.
that my daughter gave me.
that was a really good closing. Does anyone else want to say anything if they are elected?
I just want to thank everyone that did show up, that came. And they were really good questions. They put us to the test. Hopefully we convinced you that we're the right people.
Thank you.
I appreciate the turnout. Thank you all for coming. If I'm elected, I'll do the best job I can. That's all I can say, and I appreciate working with these guys, and, even got to work with Ralph a little bit before he retired there on the tail end, and,
Wasn't for COVID, I'd still be here.
yeah, so,
Yeah, thanks for coming out, guys. Thanks to the American Legion for hosting this Let's Have It.
Yes, thank you, Lee.
But same thing, I'm here to serve you guys. If we don't know what the problems are, we can't help.
Are you sure?
Can't fix them if you don't know.
I'd love to hear from you guys. Like, same thing with the budgets and everything else, where you want the money spent. You guys pay taxes as much as we do. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, because I don't like to decide for 700 some people, so. But thanks for coming out, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks for coming. I'll do the best job I'm communicating with, and hope you elect me. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thank you. And I will follow up with you. Jeff and I will follow up with you all. Donnie, Mr. Hopper, we will follow up with the community lunch questions. I'll get back to you guys.
Hi, how are you?
I'll,
And as we're checking out his wrapped up into his